Okay, so I'm sitting here with Mithy from Origin, who just won his game, and we will talk about the upcoming patch and all the AP and jungle changes. So, what are your thoughts on the AP changes? I mean, they changed the needlessly large rod, for example, it costs less, which definitely affects the mid laners, and it also buffed all the utility items. So, what's your take on that? Will it actually affect the meta?
I haven't really played on the patch yet, so I don't have like a really deep insight on it. But from what I can tell, the large rod change is pretty big because before it was actually quite hard to base with 1.6k gold, especially early in the game. So you couldn't really like, for example, rushing Luden's Echo was something that was done at the start before it got nerfed, but it's something that will be possible now. Maybe not Ludens, but other items that build with large rod, which is gonna be like way more items are gonna build out of large rod. I think Rylai's too is building out of large rod.
No, it isn't, but it got a buff. Like, it's the same AP, basically. It changed from 60 AP to...
Yeah, but
80,
I think it actually has a limitlessly large rod in his build path.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
So it's like,
Sorry.
the item is more like a BF sword now, you know? So yeah. I think it's quite good because mid laners can like have a more diverse buys, because when you can't, like, normally you base with 900 gold or something like that. Now you can greed a bit more and get large rod because it's not so expensive. That's good. I think Rylai's is really good. I was looking at it, I was playing any support, and the item is actually very strong. The 40% AoE slow for Victor, for example, is going to be crazy. And I think overall Rumble is going to get, even though it's top lane, not really mid lane, is going to get really buffed because of Liandry's, Rylai's, all these items are getting actually a quite big buff. So yeah.
So you said especially Rylai's is going to be huge, even if the slow system is going to be changed, because right now slows are stacking, and when the patch actually hits, only the toughest slow applies. So do you think that will have a lot of effect? Because, for example, if you have a slow on a jungle right now and then apply the red buff, it stacks, so the slow is even harder. For example, if you play Nuno and have the ice ball, you have a ridiculous slow.
Yeah.
Right now, do you think it will affect the players, or is it just something that you will just naturally get into?
I think it's what you're saying. It's going to affect the players at some point, but just as it is with everything, you will eventually just get used to it, right? But I do think it's going to make us think a bit more, like us pro players, about what champs are good and how to use slows and even stacking them, you know? Like thinking, in teamfights you stack CCs, the same thing is going to happen with slows. So I think it's an interesting mechanic, and we will see how it turns out to be.
And since all the utility mage items, AP items got buffed, do you think we will see a lot more a lot more utility mages coming up? Because right now it's all about poke. You know, poke and stacking the needlessly large rod items.
Okay, so overall I think utility mages are gonna be seen a bit more, especially towards the start of the new patch, to experiment with them. But I don't really feel they're gonna be that shown as
that impactful.
That impactful as people might think.
Okay, going on to the jungle, I know it's not your role, but I guess you definitely talk within the team. Do you think the new jungle item, the Devourer, that little wolf that stacks, will be an option, especially considering that Riot made it so that the Dragon or Baron actually gives 5 stacks, and the Scuttle Crabs too, which are also like already very contested in competitive play?
I think the Scuttle Crab thing is a very interesting mechanic. Actually, extremely interesting, because it's actually going to force more teams to time it and actually be aware of it, especially against Devourer. But I don't really have, like, I'm not that open-minded into that item as I am about the Runeglaive one. I think the Runeglaive one is going to make champions like Evelynn strong, Nidalee strong. But I'm not really sure about the Devourer one. I can't really tell. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the likes of Nocturne or something come up, you know, but the Devourer is kind of like or I've always thought of this kind of farming junglers to be risky in a way, because you don't have the early pressure. But if the other guy doesn't do anything and you get to farm up, then you're gonna be twice as useful as him. So it's kind of like a strange thing in that regard. The Runeglaive item is gonna be very strong, and what's gonna be stupid, I think, is mid laners with smite, with the Runeglaive item. I think that's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, we have it already with Astral and packages play Diana, which seem to be really strong. Do you think we will see more smite mid lanes in the future, especially with Runeglaive?
Yeah, I definitely think that Runeglaive is gonna be pretty stupid for mid laners, just because of the different like you basically get a different summoner spell.
Yeah.
And you have like you can farm so easy. If you have a bad lane matchup, you can get the AoE smite one, and like go to red or something and smite it and get full HP back if you like are having a tough time. So I think it can be really stupid, but we will see what happens. You know, I can't really tell, but I definitely think that mid laners with smite is gonna be something that's gonna come up, just like it was with top laners.
Yeah. In a recent interview, Xpecial said that he thinks that the LCS format might be changed into a best of 2, for example, because in the best of 1 there's always a possibility to get cheesed. So what's your take on that? Do you actually prefer the best of 1s because it has a lot of more, like, I don't know, action in it, and it could have like the underdog winning over just the obvious favorite? Or do you think the best of 2 option or even best of 3 option, even in the LCS, would it be a better choice?
I don't know what Riot is gonna do. Maybe they leave the same system. They're usually trying to adapt it to make it as like the best they can. But for me personally, I would prefer a best of 2 system, even best of 3, like 1 best of 3 a week or 2 best of 2s against different teams. Depends on like what spectators want, right? But I definitely prefer more games to decide who is the best team on that week. You know, instead of having a best of 1, which could really mean that not the best team wins every time. Because every team right now in the LCS is not bad, right? So if they get a lead because the other team makes a stupid mistake, they're gonna take the game. Like if you actually make a very bad mistake, the other team is actually gonna snowball you. You know, these teams in the LCS are not bad, so they know how to snowball. Therefore, if you have a best of 2 system, you can afford like losing. Like if you actually make the mistake, you can still prove that you are at least equal to them. You know, so I definitely prefer the best of 2 or best of 3 system than the best of 1 system that is going on right now.
Yeah, it would also take out the blue side or red side advantage or disadvantage that you have at times.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really notice it, but everyone talks about the blue side, red side. Also the patches, I think it's mostly the pick and ban phase for red side and blue side is different, right? And I think that's what, like, depending on the patch, sometimes there's so many OPs open that if you're purple side, you can get 2, and the other guy can only get 1. And then you also have counter pick, you know? So therefore, in some patches, red side is strong, like really strong, and other patches where there's like only maybe 1 champion or 2 champions that are really strong, blue side is better.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time. That's about the interview. Do you have any last words towards your fans who are cheering for you to reaching Worlds?
Well, all I can say is thank you to all our fans that support Origin. It's our first time in the LCS, and we're trying to not disappoint anyone and just working our hardest to make it as far as we can.
Yeah, looking good so far. Good luck in the future.
Thank you.